Hey guys, and welcome back. Before I show you what I have here, I want to make a quick announcement. Some of you might be familiar with the feature I had in We Are Makers magazine. The team behind the magazine, Jack and Kate, they travel all around the world interviewing makers just like myself for their podcast. And a few weeks ago, they were here in my shop interviewing me, getting a little bit about my story, kind of how I got into it, why I work the way I do, kind of looking at some of the work I've done, as well as talking about my books and of course my most recent book. So I will put links in the description below, as well as probably a card up here for where you can check out that podcast. So I've got a couple things here I want to show you. It's more about what's in the box. This is something I think is really special. It's really special to me. Hopefully you guys will think it's pretty cool. If you've been interested in historical trades, hand trades for a while, you're probably familiar with Diderot and his encyclopedia. They feature all kinds of historical trades, some of the tools. They go over a little bit of the process of some of the stuff. And this here is a copy of the Anvil's Ring from 1980, where Abana published kind of the metalworking plates. These plates are great drawings of kind of, like I said, tools and processes. And of course in here they cover locks and keys, which you can probably understand why is of interest to me. They have this page with padlocks. So it's a really good reference for some illustrations on that kind of stuff. If you're, like I said, if you're not familiar with it, most of you probably have seen some of these, maybe didn't know where they came from. For a really long time, these were the only illustrations or kind of, I guess, explanations of this sort of work that I knew of for a while. What some of you might not be aware of is that there was a contemporary to Denis Diderot. He put his encyclopedia out in the mid-1700s. It spanned quite a number of years, probably because there were different volumes that got put out as they kind of worked their way through the different trades. But so there was a contemporary to Denis Diderot named Henry Louis Duhamel du Monceau that put out the Description of Arts, I believe is what it was called. And I was super lucky enough to get one particular part of that. I don't open this up very often. Kind of makes me nervous. It's not in the best shape, which is probably why I could afford to grab it. So this volume here is titled Art of the Locksmith. And so this is an original printing of the descriptions as well as the illustrations in the back. It's a pretty good sized book. About 11.5 by 17. It is missing the front cover, and I'm missing some of the title pages. They're not super important. Obviously it'd be nice to have them. The binding is just absolutely falling apart. It's in rough shape. But so as far as I know, I have all the interior pages explaining, the process. But what's really special about this book is the illustrations in the back. This entire book, as well as probably, I would imagine, the rest of the volumes on other trades, I'm only concerned with this one, but this entire book is available to be viewed online, and I have referenced it a number of times. I still do. Like I said, I don't really like taking this one out too much because it is in pretty tough condition. The reason why I bought this is, most of you probably know, I've written 2 books now. I just released my second book in October. I'll put a link to that video if you're interested. But I referenced this book a number of times, and I wanted to feature some of the illustrations in the back of it. and so I wanted a copy myself that I could photograph to include in my book instead of paying someone else to license images. It was much cheaper, even though this was a few $100s, it was much cheaper to buy this book. And if I ever decide to write a third book in the future, I'll have this book to be able to share some more of the images within my book as well. So that's why I picked up this copy. Obviously, I'm also super stoked to have it in my collection because of what it is. Really good reference. And although, like I said, you can view this online, and there's some good copies, not so good copies you can view online. They're still really good to look at and use. Like I said, I still use them. But obviously you're not going to get this from the video, but they don't compare to looking at this thing in person. Like I said, the size of it, it's pretty much 11 by 17. But the clarity on these engravings is just fantastic. And it's so cool to be able to see the edges of the plate that were pressed into the pages. You get that little bit of, it's just the tactile feel to it. There's just nothing like seeing this in person. And this is, although the Diderot is cool, there's way more locksmithing images and explanation. There's some good explanation in the write-ups for the Diderot as well, but I don't know, doesn't quite compare for me. They're just absolutely spectacular. And some really great scenes of people in their workshops, so you get an idea of the tools they had, maybe some of the setups. Really cool. Sign with a key hanging from it. Again, more kind of workshop scenes. This is a cool one. So a lot of people working in there. Again, showing you some of the tools. Let's see. I don't know if you can see here, it's dated as being printed in 1767. So there's absolutely beautiful drawings, locks, various parts. Really great key illustrations. Padlocks. Of course, we got the half heart, like the book I just put out. But just looking at these online is nothing like looking at them in person. Like I said, you can see the imprints in the paper from the printing plates. It's pretty cool. So you got lots of descriptions of the work and the tools, how to use some of them. So I hope you guys found this book interesting. Like I said, you can view this online, so if you're interested, you can always go out and try to find it. I wanted to show this to you because I thought it was a really cool addition to my collection. Some neat look at some history. Maybe give you guys an idea for some more research and information you want to do on your own. But also I have an idea for a future video. I kind of want to do, and it involves something in this book. So I want to show you guys the book before I got into that video. But thanks again for watching. Bye.